And you got to be even more careful regarding your choice of words, because people can be pretty sensitive and be ticked off more easily. And on July 7, we've got Mars in Taurus square Saturn retrograde. And this can be a few days where egos can collide. So you need to be careful and organized when you act, for that matter. So skipping forward to August 14, the Sun in Leo forms an opposition with Saturn retrograde. And this can be making us less confident and sure about ourselves. So if you can, middle of August, if you need to take a small little few day break, please do, when Saturn retrograde opposes the Sun. So now let's move on to most of October, because this is when Saturn retrograde and Uranus retrograde will be squaring each other roughly a degree or two apart. Not exactly an exact aspect, but still pretty tight. And this really reminds us of the culminating supply chain disruption related events. Maybe in October, some of you may be wanting to pivot to another career direction, something of that matter, or make some very important long-term decisions, which is Saturn, to kind of anchor the future that you want for yourself. In reality, Taurus. And in terms of mundane astrology for October, when that square is pretty tight, this can actually send inflationary pressures even higher. But then this can also represent the last window of pressure in accessing all your commitments and navigating the new direction that you wish to take, to pivot your direction for the long haul. So now let's move on to October 11. Sun in Leo actually forms, no, wait, sorry. Let's move on to October 13. Let's skip October 11. Venus in Libra actually forms a trine with Saturn, and this can bring us closer to commitments. Maybe some of us are chasing that, someone that we've been fancying for the longest time. And when this Venus in Libra trines Saturn, why not call that person out, for a date? Maybe something longer term may result, because I quite like this this trine from Venus to Saturn. And then last but not least, 8 days after, when Venus in Libra trines Saturn retrograde, Saturn will station direct. So I would just like to briefly touch on in terms of signs. So I classify into 3 clusters: the fixed signs, the cardinal signs, and also the mutable signs. So let's talk about the fixed signs: Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. So this Saturn retrograde will happen in their angular houses, 1st, 4th, 7th, and 10th. And so you'll be feeling this Saturn retrograde the most. It's just telling me that these 4 signs, particularly if your ascendant is there, or midheaven, Sun and Moon to a lesser extent, that you have to take your lives more seriously than others and make the necessary shifts according to what or where you see your future to be. And let's talk about the cardinal signs: Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. This will be happening in their fixed houses or succeeding houses, 2nd, 5th, 8th, and 11th. And so you'll be feeling this Saturn retrograde in terms of a social and a financial level. This transit for the cardinal signs won't be as harsh if I were to compare against the fixed signs, but it will make the cardinal signs rethink how they process and deal with relationships while finding their confidence and self-worth and esteem. So lastly, let's talk about the mutable signs: Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. This Saturn retrograde will happen in your mutable houses, which are houses 3rd, 6th, 9th, and 12th. I would say not as impacted or affected as other signs previously mentioned. Mostly a time of reflection, I guess, and also implementing structure into the lives of the mutable signs. That's what I actually see for you guys. So do you have anything to add?
I do. I will add, but I think you did an awesome job already. Now, Donnie mentioned the degrees already for you guys. I want to mention, for me, I think the fixed signs are going to get the bulk of it in this retrograde. Unfortunately, guys, having some fixed in my prominent three, let's say, I know how hard you will be hit by this, and especially especially unfortunately those of you who have those influences in the fixed in the fixed signs. I put a 2-degree orb here, 27 to 16. When you have something there, fixed signs, you will feel it the most. Even more so 25, 18, you will have it even stronger, and you will feel it twice as well, because Saturn will come over you again. So there are going to be those Saturn hardships there. Lots of duties, lots of work. Depending on the planet, it depends a little bit. Now, for me, I want to also mention the actual kind of, for me, the Saturn retrograde is underrated. I think it's one of the really important retrogrades because it really talks about physical material manifestation. Now, why do I say that? Because when we're heading into the retrograde, and some of the manifestations have already started to come, more regulations, interest rates, that will start to, we will almost forget about, some of the regulations we will forget about some of the duties. But the problem with this is that we actually need to put in efforts. So in our personal lives, how can this manifest? Saturn goes right now, we're really focused, we're putting in efforts, we're making things happen. Now Saturn goes retrograde. Maybe I don't want to do it. Oh, I can do it later. You're just kind of postponing. What I've seen, people start to postpone things a lot, and they don't want to put the actual effort, the work required into the thing, or where the retrograde is happening in your house. Remember, guys, personal, wherever house it is happening, the more those manifestations will happen in that area of your life. Now, why do I want to mention this is, it's easy, especially if we're talking about, a lot of people in Europe, the summertime, very often in Canada, United States, everywhere. It's kind of like a, vacation time. Again, want to postpone these duties, responsibilities. I don't want to deal with these things. But for me, it's also important to keep in mind what the hell is awaiting us in autumn time. And guys, not to scare you too much, but this is the autumn. I would say me and Donnie, probably other astrologers you listen to, have been kind of like preparing you for. It's not going to be easy there. And the results of what you're going to do right now, especially personally, I will touch upon the global manifestations as well, but especially personally, if you manage to put in the efforts, if you manage to still fill your duties, of course, take breaks and stuff like that, but keep working day to day, keep working on your goals, keep working on your dreams, keep putting the efforts in. If it's networks, if it's friends, put efforts into your relationships as well. Needs to happen, otherwise they can just drift off, and you will have to face the music during autumn time. And with Saturn, like maybe with Mercury or something, Venus, maybe you can, a little bit take it easier, I would say. But with Saturn, like the music will be harsh. It will be harsh. You will have to do more during autumn time. The duties will be overwhelming. There will be so much there. But if you put in the efforts right now, during Saturn retrograde, you will get the actual physical manifestation. You will make something, or you will complete something that is tangible and material of value. It's very important for you to understand, because during a retrograde, all those positive natures of Saturn, or qualities of Saturn, it's harder to channel and use those things. You have to keep that in mind.